Hey everyone, welcome to the oGV commission meeting output video. Just for your information, we had a commission meeting yesterday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And even though there were certain line issues, but we are still able to carry the meeting out completely, I guess. Yep. So for those who did not attend and for those who you miss out certain points from the meeting itself, this is an output for you to refer to from the meeting itself. Yeah. So cool. So we start off with a check-in. For those who you did not introduce yourself yet, we can do this during the conference and just to get to know each other more. And yeah, also to think about a hashtag to envision your term as VP oGV, like what kind of what word would describe your term that you envision ahead of you. And then just a very clear or very direct explanation on what commission meeting is all about. So basically, it's a periodical meeting gathering or the whole commission to review on our progress, discuss on the important and urgent issues, and determine a way forward action plan until the next meeting. So basically, commission here, which means which is us, which is a function, which in this case is oGV itself. So we are considered as one commission, which is like one group of people that works for the similar product or work for the similar thing. Right, and of course meeting is where everyone gathers together and discuss about certain thing. And so when it comes to ISA contents, when it comes to oGV contents, it's about reviewing progress, talk about any important stuff that's required, and also to determine a clear way forward. And those are things that we basically do in a commission meeting itself. So for our case, commission meeting usually happens virtually. We do not have a lot of physical touch point, except for conference and also for summits, but not so much. And commission meeting has to be something that happens over a period of time, which means that it has to be something consistent. Yeah, so that's why I put periodical meetings where some people they do it monthly, some people they do it weekly, some people do it fortnightly. So it depends on the needs, also it depends on the urgency, and also what needs to be discussed. Right, and most importantly, to communicate the importance of commission meeting is basically a key to success in keeping us aligned in progress and also communicate with each other. So just to share you a very quick context, in term 14-15, when I was VP oGV last time, our term has achieved more than 800 realizations in summer peak itself, simply because one of the key success is the commission is really collaborative, at which we really share a lot of information with each other. We really emphasize a lot on collaborative mindset, where even though we do not have a lot of physical touch point, we do not have meetings every month. The thing is that among each other, we always share information in the group. And that is also the reason why we don't need to have commission meeting, because we are constantly talking to each other. We are constantly like even tracking each other's goal, like how are you doing, this kind of stuff. So that is like a very important motivations for us to actually move forward as a team. And for this team as well, I want to build this kind of culture that it allows us to share our GCPs, it allows us to share our BCPs, and allow us to grow together as a team. Yes, and I believe commission meeting is one of the ways to do it. So yeah, that's why I emphasize a lot. So just a very quick context for you. Starting from 2018 February onwards, we're gonna have fortnightly meetings, which are two things. Number one, on commission meeting, which is gonna happen generally on week 1 and week 3, and then another consecutive 2 weeks left is gonna be on commission education space. So you can actually see that the whole concept here is every time before we start a meeting, before we start a month, we will have a commission meeting to actually open up the month itself. Yeah, that's why I focus on week 1 and week 3. I wish week 1 is where we open up the month, where we have a very clear way forward and focus of the month. Then week 3 still have a checkpoint for us to see how things gone. Okay. Meanwhile, week 2 and week 4 focusing on commission education space is to make sure that in week 2 itself we educate whatever things that's required in order to perform within the month. And week 4 is an education that focuses on teaching whatever that is required for starting next month itself. So that it's actually very clear that whichever focus that we are in, there are actually sufficient education spaces to make sure that we are equipped with sufficient knowledge, skills, and also the right behavior for us to do our operation. So these are certain expectations of the LCVPs towards our oGV commission. So you can actually read it. And yeah, if you find it like similar with you and you find it like interesting, you can actually talk to each other as well. So basically in this meeting, the two main things that we talk about other than what is commission meeting is on global volunteer and also on whatever things that we have to prepare prior to conference itself. Okay, so we start from global volunteer first, at which I'll give you a very overall picture and very statement-based definitions of what global volunteer is all about. So, as a product manager, as a person who manage product, or I'll call ourselves product heads, means we are the person in charge who actually run this product in respective university, which means that we are kind of like the person accountable to this product in your respective universities or cities or even region, right? So it's very essential for us to really understand what are the core of the product that we are working on. It doesn't make sense if, like, for example, a person who is so-called the product head of a product, but he do not know about the product at all, and that doesn't make sense, right? So I'll just give you a very brief one first. Global Volunteer is generally a 6 weeks cross-cultural voluntary experience for youth who want to gain personal development and leave an impact on the world. So you can actually see that certain key points that it comes in this definition of global volunteer. First one, 6 weeks. Yeah, our duration is usually 6 weeks to 12 weeks, where it's identified as a period that we are able to learn and contribute at the same time. Right? And then cross-cultural volunteering experience. It is a volunteering experience and it involves cross-cultural learning, which means that it is not like a bunch of people who's with a similar background going to another place and carry out voluntary. It's more like how can you as an individual immerse yourself into a place where it's definitely different in a culture, where it's abroad, where it's different from where you are from, and then you are also involving yourself with a bunch of volunteers who are actually outside of your own circles as well, which are also a bunch of persons who come from different cultural background, and how do you work together in a different cultural environment in order to deliver impact and at the same time gain personal development. Yeah, so this is how it goes on the definition. And this is what you have to understand based on the keywords in global volunteer itself. Okay, so if you can see certain thing over there, of course it's not paid because it's a voluntary experience. Usually the organization that we work with, which we call them the opportunity provider, they are NGO. And then the main purpose here is to create social impacts. And when it comes to like understanding the details of what global volunteer is all about, generally what you have to know is the benefits, right? So the three main benefits that we highlight for global volunteers are experiencing new cultures, at which wherever you go, you are really immersing yourself into a very local based culture instead of just going to like tourist area. So you really get to know people in depth in a certain place. Other than that, you also get to immerse with people from different cultures, which is other volunteers which come from different background, different country, where you get to experience new culture by working with them as well, right? Make your impact. And making impact here, which basically solving world issues. And the main insight that we have to let people know is that when we are talking about making impacts, it's not just like you have to do something extremely big, but it takes from the first step, it takes from a small step. If one person you are able to contribute, or if you're able to what do you call that? If you're able to change a small community life, for example, if you're able to help or create an impact towards a small community, imagine 10% who's doing to another 10 community, the difference is actually very huge. So it doesn't mean that it's something very big. And at the same time, the impact that we are created is not like random impacts or people feeling happy or whatsoever. We are contributing towards SDGs very clearly. It's about Sustainable Development Goals, which is the 17 global goals that we're focusing on, right? And you can choose to tackle on the issues that you're passionate about, right? And last, push yourself out of your comfort zone, which is something that is focused more on personal development, and it's also something that why global volunteer is different and intense from other volunteering opportunities outside, right? So throughout the 6 weeks itself, there's a lot of experiences, there's a lot of journey, there's a lot of challenges that you can't even like foresee, or it just come to you, and it's because like it's also belief on Isaac itself, how we develop leadership. It's also putting you into a challenging environment and a very practical situation as well, at which we believe that is the way that you are able to understand more about yourself. That is the way that you're able to deliver your passions, your skills, your strength, and reinvent the best version of you. That's what we believe as well. And by doing that is where by achieving that is where we put you into a totally different environment, so that you really get out of a comfort zone and really learn within the 6 weeks itself. And yes, to make it very clear, the projects that we have in Global Volunteers all exist because of the Sustainable Development Goals, at which it is something, which means that if it's according to SDG, it is something that the world needs. Okay, so we do not do random projects. That's the thing. right? The projects that we do, we have to make sure that they are really creating impacts, they are really solving world issues, that the most important 17 world issues that's happening in the world, right? That's why we know that when we are joining GV, we are a part of contributing towards the United Nations SDGs and also trying to solve this kind of problem by 2030, right? So it's actually clear that it's also something that we have to make it clear as an individual to understand ourselves, at the same time explaining to our customer that every single project that you are joining, you are playing a small part to contribute to it. Okay, so based on the explanation itself, you can see that the headline or the thing that we decide for this summer peak is experience the unexpected. It exactly goes with the benefits that we're talking about: new cultures, making impact, and also putting yourself out of the comfort zone. And those are the unexpected things I'm talking about over there. Like there's a lot of things that you cannot foresee, and there's a lot of challenges that you may not be able to see it, and that's the beautiful part of it. There are a lot of new cultures that's waiting for you to explore. There's something that you might not know at all until you are there. And also the impacts that is sometimes how can I put this? Sometimes, it's very satisfying, very enjoying, that you do not even know that the action that you do can actually impact people's life that much. So these are all the unexpected factors that I look into, right? Of course, internally, we do have a joke as well. Experience the unexpected is also like, for example, unexpected that the services provided are very bad, unexpected like, things are not well prepared, and those are not the unexpected that we're looking for. Okay, just to make it very clear, those unexpected that we wanted is positive things, right? So yeah, this is our tagline. Okay, and then talking about slightly more details into one of the parts that we always feel very hard to explain, which is the product fees itself. So product fees for oGV is 600 ringgit. So actually you can see that there's a sentence that actually back this up. Isaac is a not-for-profit organization. This fee is taken to cover our administrative processes to keep us financially sustainable so that we can continue to provide leadership experiences for you. And put it into a very simple thing, which means that as an organization, if we need to function properly, if we want to deliver more impacts, we need the money. Even though we are not here to make profit, we definitely are not here to make profit, but we need to make sure that we are able to sustain, we are able to invest, or we are able to widen our operation, and in order to deliver more experience. And by doing all those things, it requires money, right? So this is where a part of the 600 ringgit comes from. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we just take this 600 for granted, right? What are the things that they are paying for? Logistical supports, clear job descriptions, exchange preparations, which is all the seminars, goal settings that we do for EPs, incoming and outgoing, right? Safe living environments, also learning experiences, the things that the facilitation spaces that we provided to EPs, right? So this fees basically covers a lot of preparation work that we actually do pre-hand, and also, yeah, you might not see the fees maybe break down very, very clear, and also you might be doubting also why hosting entity at the site still collect money for accommodation, those kind of stuff. And just to put it very frank to you, there's a lot of fees, there's a lot of hidden fees that we couldn't really foresee, especially for IGV side, where they have to pay in order to make sure that the project is able to sustain. Yeah, so these are some challenges that we're also trying to overcome. How can we make sure that we make our payment more transparent? At the same time, how can we make sure that for every IGV products that we run, like for every EPs that we send there, the project's quality is always there. At the same time, EPs don't have to, EP can really understand what are things that they are paying for. And for me, that's very important. Yeah, and then after that, right from the right side itself, the cost to consider. Travel and visa, of course, food, accommodation, tourism, insurance, and medical. These are something that goes back to their own, right? Whether or not accommodation is free or provided, like they have to buy flight ticket, they have to apply visa if the country requires, they have to pay for food. If they want to travel around, they should be bringing some extra money, and they have to buy insurance. And if there's any medical aids they have to bring, also they have to consider the cost. Yeah, lor, that's how it is. And then these are some questions that the VP oGVs ask throughout the meeting itself, and I see there's actually a lot of good insightful questions here that I believe is the core, or it's a thing that we have to identify before it allows us to perform. This is at least how I see it, which means that individually all of us might have certain doubts that whether or not do we actually trust GV as a product, whether or not do we really know if GV is creating impact. And I believe this kind of thing needs to be validated. This kind of thing needs to be at least belief by ourselves in order for us to make sure that we are able to convince our customer, we are able to really tell people that, hey, these are the thing that these are things that we do, and we really walk our talk. Yeah. And of course there's a lot of in reality there's a lot of situations that it did not happen like that, right? Even sometimes our outgoing side, no proper OPS was done, no proper personal goal setting was done, no insurance guidance, no visa guidance, and then there's no IPS, no accommodation. These kind of things will still happen in GV itself. And you can actually see that the system is there. The establishment of the whole global volunteer system is actually very good. And the thing is that the people who's managing it, whether are they really up for the standard, that is also something that is our responsibility as product heads to make sure that when we are running this product, we are really running it with 100% quality assurance and 100% what do you call that, quality assurance and 100% delivery of promise. Okay. So that is a part for global volunteer. And then another part is where to let you all know that of course conference coming another 2 days, which is our EBMT bootcamp and NPM. And something that if you haven't know yet, there's actually something that you have to prepare. So if you are coming with this question, hey, need to prepare ka? Then you'll be like, maybe you did not talk properly with your LCP lah. Okay, so right, just to let you know, EBMT Bootcamp and NPM is a conference that serves for the purpose to build capacities of the new elect team to make sure that you are functionally and in terms of like your leadership capacities are well prepared to actually start your term. At the same time, you're gonna involve into a planning process where we are going to draft out and also plan in details how your term would look like and focusing on summer peaks operation itself. Yeah, so that's why prior to coming to the meeting, and also not the meeting, the conference, and also the conference is only 4 days. There's a lot of things that we're trying to achieve inside there, and at the same time, there are something that we need you to do it prior coming to the meeting, to the conference, so that we do not use too much time in looking for data, still looking for information from throughout the conference itself. And also, most of these things that we want you to prepare, you should have already received transition from your predecessor on how to get all those information and data, and it's in a transition framework itself. So it's not an excuse to say that you do not know how to do this. Okay, so right, there are 3 main parts of information for oGV to collect. The first one is performance analytics, which is focusing on your on the number of exchanges that is delivered in your term before. And then after that, NPS analytics, which is focusing more on the satisfactory side of customer, which we call it Net Promoter Score. And then the last one is standards analytics, which is the quality assurance of our delivery of our product itself. So did our EPs receive 16 standards? Is it a complete experience? Does it match with our measure of success? These are the stuff that we look into in standards analytics. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how do we actually do these 3 analytics. So just for your information, every LC, you should have a LC planning framework which with your LC's name in front. So this is Langkawi, which is the template that we use in MC. Okay, so you should be able to see that this is your LC name, and then the name is LC planning framework. And inside this framework itself, you can see that there is a few tabs here, and the tabs that I want you to focus is performance, standards, and NPS. Okay, so for performance, what you have to fill up is this part, which is for 2017 performance for oGV. Okay, and then you can actually see that you have to find all the information and fill up since signups until complete, right? So I'll be teaching you how to do this. First, you have to go to XBAR, of course, the main platform that we use to gather all our information and data. So after you log in XBAR, go to Analytics, go to Application Analytics, and then here you just put in your LC, okay? And then choose people. People stands for outgoing, opportunity stands for incoming. So you choose people, and then put in the range accordingly. Okay, for time scale, you just choose custom range, and then it depends on the range that is required. So for this one, it's February 2017, for example. So I'll go to February 2017, 1st of February until, say, 28th of February, right? So that's 1 month. So you click apply, then the result will come out. Okay, so what you have to do is that if you're putting your LC here, logically your LC's name will be here. So this is data that you have to put in. Okay, So it's like applicants, accepted, approved, realized, finished, and complete. So all this data should come inside here. Okay. So if you have questions about like what's the difference between for applications and accepted, what is the difference between applicants and applications? Why are there two numbers here? So just to let you know, applicants means that they are the number of people. Okay, means absolute number of people who is applying. And applicants here in accepted here, applicants here means that also the same thing, the number of people who's accepted. However, why is there applications here? Applications here indicates the number of project that is being applied. And accepted here here indicates that the number of project has been accepted. So which means that every single one EP, they can have more than one project to be accepted at the same time, right? Or apply at the same time. So you can actually see that for applicants, for example, there are 56 applicants and then there are 178 applications. So which means that by doing the maths, you can actually roughly estimate that out of one person here, it actually applies to roughly 2 to 3 projects, right? So that's why that one applicant, like there's only 56 applicants and then there are 178 applications, which means that there are a lot of people here which applies more than one project. And then here, there are 22 people who have got accepted and 26 projects got accepted, which actually means that out of this 22% itself, there are a few person who actually get accepted to more than one project. That's why here there are 26. Okay, that's the difference. And for data collection, what you need to fill up is the number of people. So it's gonna be the applicants and the applicants here. Okay, so it's this number and this number. So for the rest, it's just singular number. I mean, there's only one part here, so you can just take this. So for example, it's 56, 22, 10, 17. So you just fill up accordingly. 56, like 56, 22, 10. Then what else? 10, 17, 49, 1. Hey, shit. Sorry. Yup, it's back. 10, 49, 1 or something, right? So you just fill up this part. Okay, the thing is that after you fill up, the result will be automatically generated here. Okay, so you don't have to touch anything here. Just fill up from February until January 2018 itself. Okay, just fulfill this whole stuff. And then after that, what I want you to take note here is the process time. Okay, so for here, I couldn't touch it. But the thing is that you can actually fill out the process time as well. So what does process time means? It means that how long does it take for one person to be converted from one status to another? And in this case, it's applicant to accepted, accepted to approve, right? So what you have to fill up is you go to applications, go to analytics, then choose process time analytics. And then in here itself, you realize that they ask you to fill up Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So what you have to do is just to choose quarter, and then you can just choose Q1 2017 and then GV people apply. So you can see that actually you can get the dates here, right? So how does it differ is that what I want you to put in, like for example for Q1 applicants to accepted, what you should be taking is this one, which is acceptance. So it's 15.143 you should be putting in here. However, for accepted to approve, you cannot take the approval directly. You have to subtract, which is minus, approval minus acceptance. That is the process time for accepted to approve. Because in this system itself, everything starts from in the one point. Let's say it starts from applicants. Okay, so this is applicants to accepted. This is applicants until approved. This is applicants until delivery. So how do you want to find the in-between time? Is you just have to minus it. So for example, in this case, it's 28.69 minus 15.13, which is roughly around like 13.5 something. Okay, so you can just fill up here 13.5 something. And then similar for Q2, for Q3, and Q4. Okay, so that is all for performance management part. Performance analysis part, sorry. Then you go to standards analysis. So for standards analysis, you can actually see that for oGV, these are all the 16 standards, right? Then there are yes, no, not taken, total, and also your inferences. So what you have to do is go to analytics, then go to standards analytics, and then you can actually see this page. So right, opportunity committee means it's for hosting entity, which means that you are IGV or incoming, right? EP committee means that you are outgoing, which means that you send EP out. Okay, so what you have to do is just put your LC in EP committee. Okay, and then there's actually a range given here, 1st of February until 31st of January. So you just put on 1st of February until, basically you can put until today, right? That's the latest. Then you can just apply. Then you can actually see all the 16 standards result itself. Okay, so how do you have to understand the 16 standard result? Is that you can actually see yes means the standards are fulfilled, no means the standards are not fulfilled, not taken means they haven't filled up, total, which is the number of EP that you have in this period. So it's very clear that you can actually do some analysis here, lor. And then after filling up all these 4 columns of data, I actually want you to do a very simple inference based on what you have found out in the data itself. It don't have to be something detailed, it don't have to be something like very deep. What I need you to do is just let me know, based on the data here, what can you infer? What kind of thing that can you conclude based on what you can see in here? Like for example, let's say what I can see from Isaac in Malaysia standards. What I realize is that, for example, departure support, working hour, first day of work, and also let's say, which is another one that's excludable, arrival pickups. So for example, these are the 4 standards. These are 4 standards that's excludable, and I found out 3 of them are in a very, very high incomplete situation, which is a no. So which means that what I can inference from here is that it's because the standards are excludable, that's why people don't prioritize it so much. That's why the amount of no is still very high. Because for this kind of standards, when you fill up no, in the case that if you only if you still fulfill 14 standards out of 16, out of these 4 standards, you still get number of complete. That's my assumption why people are not prioritizing it so much. Yeah? So this kind of inference is what I want to hear from you. Okay, based on your LC result. Okay, and then the last one is NPS analytics. So for NPS analytics, it's a bit tricky because for oGV side, we usually do not look into NPS. However, it is still part of customer experience. It is still part of our side to make sure that EPs get a fulfilling experience, right? Apart from standard fulfillment, they should be enjoying, they should be happy, they should be promoting the product that we are promoting as well, right? So what you have to do for NPS analytics, you can actually see here, there's total respondent that you have to fill up, percentage of total result, what is the average score, percentage of promoters, percentage of passive, percentage of detractors. Okay, and basically these are the 5 columns that I want you to fill up. Okay, only these, also not 5, 6 columns that I want you to fill up. Okay, so how do you actually fill this up? You do not go to NPS analytics because NPS analytics is only for host committee, which is meant for the incoming side. So what you have to do is go to people, go to analytics, go to application analytics again, and then put in a certain durations of period. Let's say, I suggest you to put in maybe around the period that you have quite a number of EPs realizing. Okay, let's say 1st of February, maybe until let's say until today itself. Okay, take in also the terms data. Okay, so you can actually see there's a lot of number here, right? So what I want you to click here is to click the number of finish. Okay, once you click a number of finish, you can actually see all the EPs who have already finished their exchange. Yeah, all these EPs are basically finishing their exchange already. So right, how can you get NPS data? Basically what you can do is just look into the EPs with the box. Okay, EPs with all these boxes are basically EPs who have filled in their NPS survey. Okay, EPs without boxes are basically they haven't filled up yet, or they haven't finished their exchange yet. Okay, so you can actually analyze based on here those with their boxes. And how do you know whether how much score did they give for each and every exchange experience? You have to click in their profile. And then go to NPS. Then you can actually see the score given here. Okay, so the score given here is 9, which is a promoter score. So right, NPS itself, there is actually a scale of 1 to 10, right? And this scale indicates how much are they willing to recommend and promote our product. Okay, so in a scale of 1 to 5, which means that they are a detractor. Detractor means that they do not recommend our product and they think that our product is not good. Okay, they are detracting our product. Okay, which means that they are not positive influences for our product. Okay, which probably means that they probably have a bad experience, kind of stuff, right? And then 6 to 7, score 6 to 7 are passives, which means that this person are neutral. They are not promoting our product. At the same time, they are not like hating our product or like talking bad about the product. So they are being very neutral and passive about these things, which means that probably their experience is so-so, nothing much special. And then 8, 9, 10, which indicates them as promoters, which means that they are a person who really willing to promote our product and they feel happy and they feel like they have gained what they want and they are okay to be our advocates. They are okay to promote Go Volunteer. Right, not promote in the sense that that they come and open booth for us, but promote in a way that they actually have a very good experience and they are willing to share this kind of experience with their friends. When they are having leisure conversation, when they talk about it, they will say that it's good, you should go as well. So these are considered promoters. Okay, so it's a scale of 8, 9, 10. So for oGV, what I want you to do is based on your number of finishers, I want you to analyze a minimum of 10 of them, 10 EPs. Okay, so 10 EPs who is with NPS score. So right, let's say if you are taking 10 of them, then you just divide the number. So like for example in here, I'm taking 10 out of 352 for example. So 10 out of 352 is actually very low lah. It's like 2.8%, which shouldn't be that low lah. We should take more, right? But as an example, so it's 3.8%, which is very bad in data. And then average, what is average? Average score is you just have to add up all these scores that you have gotten and then divide by the total of respondent. So let's say I'm taking 10 of them and then the score that I've added all 10 together is 60. So 60 divided by 10, the average score is 6 for example. Okay, and then also out of these 10 people itself, how many percent of them are promoters? Let's say out of these 10 people, 6 of them rate more than 8, between 8 and 10, which means that 6 of them are promoters. So the percentage is 60%. Then maybe 1 of them is passive, so it's 10%. And then like another 3 of them is detractors, which means they score around 1 to 5, so which is another 30%. Okay, so this is what I need you to fill out. And just FYI, the more respondent that you'll be taking, the more accurate your NPS will be. So I do recommend you to take more result if you are doing more exchanges. Okay, unless like 10 is already like almost all of your exchange number throughout this period, then it's fine. But if you can take more, just take it. Like even though it needs more time for you to click in one by one, but it wouldn't be that hard as well. It's still very easy to collect the data. Okay, so take more. Like LCs, for example, LC who does like 40 plus exchange, and then like TU 45, like Sunway you have 40. This kind of LCs, I highly recommend you to take more number, like around 20, 25, or even 30 to make your accuracy of data higher. Okay, yep, that's it. So this is for NPS law, and then this is the part for the analysis that you have to carry out. Okay, so in terms of like some preparations checking from our LCVP, so far everyone is in a okay range lah, which means that the worst is like 50%. I'm halfway ready. I just need to make sure that maybe I get this done, or I get my mind clear, or I get my health better before coming to the conference. Okay, so call to actions, which is things that you have to prepare before coming to the meeting, coming to the conference itself. Number 1, which is basically what I just told you, all the analysis that you have to do. So yeah, remember, go to your LCs one. This is an example from Sunway. Go to your LCs once and then do all this sheet analysis. So you can actually click this link to find your folder itself. Okay. Second call to action is to fill out your national leadership database, which I've already put in the all your LCs here. So I need you to put in your data inside here. So your name, your position, your phone number, blah 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 blah, etc. etc. Okay, so the link is here. You can click as well. And last one is a special call to action that I sent to the group to everyone yesterday, which I want you to take one EP who's currently realizing and talk to them. Okay, so if you are really curious and also really want to find out how Isaac is currently developing leadership and whether or not are we providing the kind of service that we should be providing. Talking to the EP is the best way to find out. Yeah, there's a lot of time that we question this, question that, think about this, think about that, but you actually find out that the most direct way is to just ask and to just communicate with the people who's using our product, right? So all of you are required to talk to one EP, okay? Just one or maximum two EPs who's currently realizing. I want you to check on the experience itself. And I've given you a guiding questions here. Like there are actually 10 guiding questions here that you can use it to clear your doubts and also to follow up with EP's experience. But the thing is that you don't have to follow all these 10 questions. Number one, is a lot to ask EP 10 questions in one call. At the same time, I'm generating these questions based on the inner and outer journey so that you can actually find out how EP goes through their external journey, external environment, and also how EP goes through their inner journey, which is their internal environment, which is like their reflection, their personal feeling, this kind of stuff. So also individually, I believe all of you have your different doubts that you want to find out. So you can also customize the questions into answering those questions that you really have doubt on. Okay, so this is a third call to action, and you have to prepare this before the conference. And during the conference itself, I'll be having a space that we are going to use all these EP stories that you have collected, all this EP calling that you have collected. Okay, so please do it. And since you have doubts, since you have questions, really do this to find out. All right, if not, forever you will not know the answer. Okay. Yes, so basically that is all for the meeting yesterday, and also this is the end of the output as well. So yeah, really looking forward to see you in the conference. That's the first thing. And then also make sure that you finish your transition, I guess. Like a lot of basic knowledge about oGV that you have to know, you have to get it done based on the transition checklist, because if you have the transition list prepared, like everything that is done, you are actually halfway there already. Okay, another halfway is what is going to be delivered during the conference. But the thing is that if you don't have that 50% ready, it's going to be very hard for you to catch up during the conference. Okay, and to be honest, I cannot wait for everyone. Okay, so make sure that you keep yourself in a certain level of understanding so that when you are here, you are not too suffering to carry out. Okay, so yes, I think that's it. Remember your call to actions, remember the preparation that you have to make, and I'm very happy to and very looking forward to see all of you, and we really hope that you rest well as well, because the conference is going to be tired. So take good rest, stay hydrated, and let's achieve and let's have fun. Okay, so that is all from my side. Thank you everyone, see you, bye.